I want to welcome you to the Retro Rogues Live. Please pay attention to our warning graphic. It states that the Retro Rogues Live show is intended for an adult audience. Possibly tonight, even more so than normal. And not children under the age of 13, parental discretion is advised. So I don't welcome you to the show. On tonight's show, we are going to be talking about the Book of Boba Fett. We're going to be talking about the Halo TV show. We're also going to be talking about the passing of a friend of mine, Brian Augustyn. But we'll get into that soon enough. I want to welcome you to the show. My name is Dave Beatty. I apologize for our extended delay, but I'm happy to be back. I think we're all happy to be here tonight. My name is, again, see, I'm a little off tonight, so I'll just tell you that for those of you who may be new to the show, I am a professional illustrator and graphic designer. Worked on a lot of fun things that some people have heard of, such as Batman Incorporated, Justice League of America, and even Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. But enough about that. I am happy to welcome back my great co-host. This is Mr. Eric Alexander. Eric, please tell the folks who'll be watching or listening at home some of the fun things you have worked on as a creative professional.
Yes, hello, everyone. I'm Eric Alexander, also known as Bass God 14. That's Bass God 14, not Bass God. That's Bass God, like a bass guitar. And in addition to my co-hosting duties on the Retro Rogues Live, which I haven't been doing for quite a while. It's been, I think, 6 weeks, so I am a little rusty, and hopefully folks will be kind with me. But I am the Chief Financial Officer of Bad Bob Productions, which is a film production company located in Arizona. Currently, I'm the executive producer on a film called Staycation, which has recently been filming in California. It's scheduled to do some more shoots, I think, in March or April, and hopefully that feature will be coming out very soon. But we also have a very special guest host tonight. We have our fairy black mother, cosplayer A'Ja Ewing.
Hello, darlings. You guys remember me as co-host from Cosmic Cafe Show. Been cosplaying in Arizona since the early 90s. And crafter, all-around nerd. And wait, I'm not in the gallery anymore.
That's right. You're not in the Rogues Gallery tonight. For folks that may not know, A'Ja's actually been one of our most loyal viewers, and often is in the Rogues Gallery. And we do have our first comment from the Rogues Gallery tonight. Speaking of which, Hollywood's in the house. It's great to see you, Hollywood. It says Hollywood Jackson says, "Hi guys, good to see you again, Hollywood. It's good to be seen. It's been a long time, and I appreciate you." Hollywood quite a bit, because Hollywood is one of the people that actually has reached out to me like, "Hey, are you still alive? Are you okay?" That kind of stuff. I really appreciate that. And we appreciate the fact that you're on the show tonight. And of course, he says our queen is on the show tonight. So
hello, darlings.
You look beautiful, A'Ja.
Thank you. I was feeling
absolutely.
A bit horny.
I concur. I think you might make other people feel that way as well. You know what I mean? So that's a possibility.
All right,
I did want to mention about the Cosmic Cafe show. That's also another Eric, right? It's Eric Brown, right? Who's the host of Cosmic Cafe. I have some history with him from all the way back with Occupants, which, by the way, in this time period, Occupants has been renamed. It's now, I think, called Altiverse.
Yes, it's the Altiverse now.
It's back on Tubi. They took it off Tubi, and now it's back. So when you might hear me still say Occupants, like for instance, Dave and I collaborate on the Occupants comic book, and it's still going to be Occupants no matter what. It's
I was a backer.
We're not changing the comic book. But actually, that's I think how we met, was promoting the comic book. But I just wanted to mention that, shout out to Eric, because Eric helped us a lot when we were promoting that film. So formerly known as Occupants, now known as Altiverse. You can actually check it out on Tubi. That has happened in the last 6 weeks since we've been off the air. That film is now back, but it's been rebranded and renamed. And Eric was part of that Cosmic Cafe show. He actually, when we did the cast and crew screening, which was actually at USC, which was really cool, because the director Russ Emanuel, that's his alma mater. Eric was there, and he was actually like streaming and like live while we were talking and everything like that. We did our Q&A. So just wanted to mention that for Cosmic Cafe. I know that they're not doing new shows, but the old catalog, it's still available, right, A'Ja?
And still hilarious, yes.
It's still hilarious.
There you go.
For people that might not know, tell people what Cosmic Cafe is all about.
Well, we did a lot of paranormal stuff, UFOs. There's comedy, of course. We had different characters that came on. We had guests, and our guests are all over the place. Like Jesse Marcel, he actually is an inventor. His grandfather was at Roswell. He's one of the ones that found the first ships. So there's a lot of family history there with him. My friend Gil, who's a Gilead artist, who does paintings and fantasy art, he was on there. We've had all sorts of different tech people have been on our show. Earlier, before me, Tracy Lee Coco's been on there, and she's been in a lot of Russ's
She's in Staycation
movies
as well, by the way. She is actually in Staycation. So
Russ himself has been on our show multiple times, and that's what it is. We did interviews with a lot of people in movies and media and paranormal ghost stuff and fun. It was a lot of fun for us.
You
that's
go
like a
far.
lot of fun.
You go far enough back in time. I was a guest on the Cosmic Cafe show once.
There you go. There you
This
go.
has all come full circle for us. Huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The circle is now complete.
It's complete.
We've got another comment. Gap is in the house. Gap is another person actually that has reached out to me since we've been off the air and was like, "Hey, where are you guys? You guys alive?" But Gap says, "So glad you guys are back. A quick hello. I'm moderating for another channel. I dropped in to say, hey, I'm glad you guys are back." And Gap actually is one of those people that has told me that a lot of times he does watch us on the replay. So he may or may not be back, but we do appreciate him. And I appreciate the fact that you reached out to me, Gap, and were asking about the show and if we were coming back and all that stuff. So big shout out to him.
So I don't want to get into it too much, but my life has gone through a drastic set of changes. I'm now living in a new place. And it's been very interesting. I managed to catch the COVID even. That was a lot of fun. And but I've been able to basically continue to survive, and I'm doing okay thanks to the help and support of a lot of my friends, and one of those is A'Ja. Thank you, A'Ja. So I'm alive and well.
I was sending him care packages while he had COVID.
That's true.
I'm like, masks. Here's cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Food. Don't leave the house.
Yeah. So and it's made all the difference in the world. So it's a big thank you actually to a lot of my friends who've been helping me out and helped me with the move and everything. And it's been interesting, but my life has changed a lot. So
dramatically, I would say.
Yes, yes, dramatically.
And I actually, for folks that were kind of wondering what happened with me, because there were a couple times that I was going to even just try to do something solo just to keep the algorithms happy. And I got COVID too during this time period. So it's like we've both had that sort of run of bad luck, which is real common right now. I mean, I know it's very, very common. I mean, I was actually supposed to do a meeting with actually one of our associates, Dave, Candace, and she had COVID in the house, not necessarily her, but it was just like, it's just like all over these days. Yeah. And speaking of that, speaking of our collaboration with Candace, Robert's in the house. So my partner, Robert McVeigh, is in the house. He says that's good. I think he was just saying that it's good for you, that you're back on the air and that you're recovering and all that stuff. But good to see you, Robert. And actually, very soon, we're going to have you back on the show as well and start talking about our project as we go forward. Which hopefully, actually, we should be good for meetings back on Wednesday, right, Dave? So
we should be hopefully next week, and we'll get things going again. And also, too, in addition to getting back to things, I'll mention this too. I'm actually getting back to work on a lot of different projects. Actually, I can't talk about a lot of them yet, but I did get a guest invite actually to Phoenix Fan Fusion, and I'm very excited about that.
Congrats! That's awesome.
And actually, I will be joined by the beautiful Miss A'Ja Ewing here. She's going to be representing her cosplay and her crafting and all the awesome things.
I get to dress as Shiva.
Yeah. She will actually be dressed as Shiva from Red Skirts as well. So it's going to be interesting. So
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. I didn't know about that, and that is so cool. I have some props that might be helpful for that because they're at my house. I've got the guns. I got the communicators. Remember?
Yep.
So if you want to use any of that stuff, it's at my house. So and they came out really well. I mean, you've seen the pictures and stuff like that. So that's very cool. I didn't know about that. That is awesome. That is really cool.
Hopefully we get to build a Sentry robot. I am very excited about that, actually. I started singing, do you want to build a robot?
By the way, Robert said he has mental problems, and then Hollywood Jackson said, me too. So,
okay.
That's the Rogues Gallery for you. I mean, true to their name, right? So it is the Rogues Gallery, right? I mean, just like Batman's Rogues Gallery, right? Maybe we should start calling it Arkham Asylum or something like that. You know what I mean? So.
Oh goodness.
So what topic did we want to start out with today, Dave? Do you want to talk about your friend?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Brian real quick, and then after that we can move on to some more fun topics. So Mark Waid actually announced on Facebook a couple days ago that Brian Augustyn had passed away. Now, for those people who are not familiar, Brian Augustyn was a very talented writer. I mean, most people are going to be more familiar with him as an editor, but he was a very talented writer. He is someone who I was fortunate enough to get to know and actually call a friend. It seemed like we were always doing like the same like local Phoenix conventions and shows together. And I would always see him and want to walk over and get to talk to him. He was actually responsible for actually hiring one of my personal favorite artists, actually Mike Parobeck. We had a lot of conversations about Mike Parobeck. For people who are not terribly familiar, if you read the Batman animated comics back in the day, Mike Parobeck is probably the biggest artist or name I think that was associated with that for a very long time. But the thing that I think Brian will be continued to be remembered for from now until eternity, despite all his amazing contributions with the Flash, a lot of these ideas that people now know from the show, the ideas like the Speed Force, the fact that he can kinetically charge things into things, his mentor Max Mercury that so many of us think about specifically with Wally West that was eventually brought over to Barry. Those ideas are Brian Augustyn and Mark Waid. Like, they were the writers that gave us this version of the Flash that we're mostly familiar with, even though he's called Barry instead of Wally. But this will be the big thing that Brian's going to be remembered for, is Gotham by Gaslight. Basically, for people who are not familiar, I cannot recommend Gotham by Gaslight enough. There's an animated film, which is fun, but I'm going to tell you to go search out the original graphic novel. This is Brian actually with Mike Mignola, creator of Hellboy. Basically, if you could imagine Batman haunting the rooftops of basically Gaslamp London, basically tracking down and trying to capture Jack the Ripper. It is absolutely fantastic. There's a follow-up called Master of the Future, which is really good. This is going to be the thing that I'm going to tell everyone. If you have not read Batman Gotham by Gaslight, search it out. I feel like this is the thing that is going to keep Brian talked about for many years to come. Now,
yeah,
Eric, I know,
am familiar with that title, but I've never had a chance to actually read it. Have you, A'Ja? Have you read that one?
I had some of it, of the Gotham by Gaslight. This is it's a long time ago in a comic book far away from me, but it's when it was really gritty, really dark. That's some of my favorite Batman, so I reposted a lot about it on Facebook. I think you saw that, Dave, didn't you, honey?
I did. Yeah. It's interesting because this version of Batman is the classic version, but it's just so completely different when you take him and put him in a time period in which there's horse-drawn carriages. Instead of armor, it's a fencing jacket is the armored part of his suit. Like, it's just a completely different interpretation of Batman, but it is absolutely fantastic. The artwork by Mike Mignola is second to none. I cannot recommend it enough. But again, Brian was just such a great guy. He just had so many amazing stories. I know so many people that, his lives that he personally touched, getting to meet with him, work with him, and talk with him. I mean, he was just a super, super talented guy and just so much fun to talk to. And he's going to be basically, he's going to be missed by me a lot, but I know he's going to be missed by so many people because he was just that cornerstone, it seemed like, of the Phoenix convention circuit. If you were doing a local signing, like, Brian was normally there, and sometimes he would just show up just to walk around. He had a cane, so he didn't get around too good, but he would show up and walk around and just talk to people. I mean, Brian was such a great guy. I'm gonna really miss him. So
I did find a IGN article about him, and one of the things it says, and I'll just read directly from the article. It says he wrote the acclaimed DC one-shot Batman Gotham by Gaslight, which reimagined Bruce Wayne as a 19th century crime fighter emerging at the same time as Jack the Ripper arrived in Gotham. The success of the graphic novel led to a sequel, Batman Master of the Future, and is widely thought to be the first Elseworld story in which DC Comics characters appear in stories that take place in alternate time periods or realities. So IGN is giving him that credit as far as being sort of like the first of the beginning of the Elseworlds for DC Comics.
And it launched actually the Elseworlds event. Gotham by Gaslight was the one that basically led into things like, the Blue, the Gray, the Bat, which is actually Batman as the Lone Ranger. Like, there were all these amazing Elseworlds stories that spun out of it. And at one point, DC actually did an Elseworlds event, and every single annual that I think it was 1 month or 2 months or several months, every single one was an Elseworlds story. So you had like different interpretations of Justice League, different interpretations of Robin and Superman, and all these characters all across the entire DC catalog. And it all spun out of the success of Gotham by Gaslight.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Brian's going to be greatly missed. And if you have not read it, I cannot recommend it enough. Search out Gotham by Gaslight. Highly, highly recommended. We do have some comments in the Rogues Gallery, Eric, if you want to work through them. I'm not sure how relevant they are.
Oh, well, Robert was saying, we love you guys.
Yep.
He was saying sorry. I think sorry for your loss of your friend. Of course, Hollywood has to go talk about the Picardinator. We can't get through a show without him saying something about that. Which led to Robert pointing out that Picard is coming out, right? So I'm sure he's talking about the second season of the show.
Guinan's in it. Don't hate.
I gotta hate. I mean, I hate that show. So, but yeah, Guinan is in it. Of course, Whoopi's in a little bit of hot water right now. I'm always ready to see
Guinan. It's one of my favorite characters.
She's in a little hot water right now, though. So we'll see how that all pans out. But it's. I know there's people that are going to be excited for it. Obviously, you are, and that's fine.
I want to see Guinan. That's the only reason. I totally
understand that. I mean, she was a very cool character I really liked that character myself as well. Growing up, watching the Next Gen, but I'm kind of like where Dave has been. I don't know if you've changed, Dave, but I have a tough time even watching Next Gen anymore. I really do. I mean, that's how bad the card has hit me. So I focus a lot more on Deep Space Nine these days. Obviously, the original. I've always loved the original. I'll always be loyal to the original. But Deep Space Nine has kind of been my jam when it comes to Star Trek these days. And the rest of it, I'm just kind of like, I need to take a step back. You know what I mean? So,
well, you
know what? Did you guys see the? I think there was a post where they were comparing the Orville poster with the Strange New Worlds poster. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that post.
I haven't seen that poster, but
they almost look exactly the same.
That's hilarious.
And they're basically, you got your camps, and you've got a lot of people saying that once again, New Trek has ripped off the Orville. You guys haven't seen it?
What if it's the same guy though? Like
it could be. It could be the same guy made both posters. I guess that's always possible.
Because that's happened. That's happened before. That has totally happened.
I am looking forward to Strange New Worlds. I've talked before. I'm a huge Pike fan. And I did see the Strange New Worlds poster, and I did like it because it looks like Pike is actually on Tango, which is the horse that he talked about, actually going back to the menagerie. So I thought that looked kind of cool. So, but
I
again,
saw a meme where they turned it into a wine.
They turned what into a wine?
They turned the Strange New World, the poster into an ad for wine.
Oh, really?
well, that's going back to all that stuff with Picard. We actually had that on our show. I actually showed that. I actually did. I created it was like a magazine layout actually for the wine that Picard was making at one point. So yeah, that's not right, but there you go.
It's
all right.
just not right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the Orville. I'm excited. I'm like, woo, woo.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Is the Orville, which is coming out in March?
Mm-hmm. I think we have less than 30 days now. We're in the 30. There's always a counter on Twitter. I keep checking.
Well, I am also very excited about the next season of the Orville. I feel like it's been an awfully long wait, so I'm definitely ready for the Orville to return. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm curious to see where they're going to pick it up. Because of where they left it off. So it's going to be interesting. So,
well, here it is. Can you folks see it?
Oh, that's funny. I hadn't seen the Orville one, and I see that, and it totally looks like they're ripping it off. It totally does.
That's
there's
hilarious.
The Orville one. Can you see it?
Yeah.
What if they did that on purpose?
So this is the Orville one, okay?
Yeah.
And you can see it's got the ship. It's
yeah.
Everybody is also. It's pretty funny. You've got got a character here on this ostrich or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here we go with the Strange New Worlds, right? Almost exactly the same thing. The ship is up there. We've got the planet, and of course, we've got him on a horse. For Strange New Worlds. So, what do you think? Pretty similar, don't you think?
I feel like that was on purpose.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so similar. That has.
I think it's on purpose too, but I don't think it's a good thing that it's on purpose. The accusation is once again that New Trek is ripping off the Orville.
And or they're like, they love the Orville so much that they're just gonna both just do that.
I don't think that's the case with the people on New Trek. Now there are people involved with New Trek that are involved with both. I mean, Jonathan Frakes is a good example. He's directed on the Orville and he's directed on Discovery, and of course he was in Picard. So I mean, there are people that are involved with both projects, but not a lot. You know what I mean? So.
Well, if it's the art department,
I'm just gonna say this. It drives me nuts because of all the people in the world they could hire. The fact that if they're literally all pulling from the same talent pool and they're literally getting the same shit regurgitated, like they really need to look outside just a little bit more. Yeah. Like, just put in a little bit more effort for the love of God. Because if this is just because everybody's hiring the same 3 or 4 people in Hollywood, give me a freaking break. There's so many talented
Go on TV and art, y'all. Come on.
Seriously. I mean, really? If that's the case, that's pathetic and incredibly sad. So,
well, I know Robert McVeigh is a big Orville fan. In fact, we had a show with PJ from Orville Nation where Robert was one of the hosts as well, and that was basically the main topic of conversation. So he says he can't wait. I know he's a big fan of the Orville. I think you're right there with a lot of other people, Robert. I'm one of them too. I really want to see this show. It's almost been too long in a way. I hope that doesn't hurt the show. I
don't think it will
because it has been a while.
I don't think it'll hurt it at all. And then they were teasing like how the bridge looks and all sorts of cool stuff like that. I think the Orville Nation, shout out, the Orville is big enough that it doesn't. We've been waiting for it so long. You're like, I tap on Hulu all the time.
but don't you think that has an effect on like the casual fan though, A'Ja? Don't you think? That's my perspective. I think some casual fans might be like, "Oh, is that even around anymore?" You know what I mean?
I don't think I've ever been a casual fan in anything. So
you're always all in. It's all in or nothing, huh?
It is all in. It's all in or nothing.
Well, Hollywood
That fruit
Jackson's
was
just
on the
excited about
ground.
the Picardinator. That's all he wants to see. So, and Ronnie's in the house. He says, I have yet to watch it, and I'm curious. I think we kind of, I don't know, remember what part of the conversation he came in and said that what he hasn't watched.
I think it's the Orville he's talking about.
Really? Ronnie hasn't seen the Orville, Dave?
I didn't know that. This is the first time hearing about it, because I know that I know my mom has watched the Orville, because when I actually went back and visited with my family a while back, we actually watched a lot of the season 1 of Orville together, my mother and I. So I just assumed my brother had seen the Orville, but I guess
this is a family scandal. Ronnie, you need to go watch it right now. What you doing on the weekend?
Yeah,
well, I never saw the first season.
Good.
I never saw the first season. And one of the reasons was because we actually talked about possibly reviewing that here on the show. And I thought it would be kind of neat to actually have that perspective of someone who hadn't seen it. And then, but someone who likes the second season, which is me, you know what I mean? So it's like, because I know there are some people that did not like the first season, that you know, they definitely thought it got stronger in the second season. I came in. What's that?
I like both because that's what I was introduced to. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I was feeling that what I call Galaxy Quest Star Trek gap. There wasn't a Star Trek that I could cling to anymore. Yeah. And Galaxy Quest isn't getting a sequel. And I'm like, and here's the Orville. I'm here for this. And I made it through the whole first season. By the time they got to the second, I'm like, I cannot live without this. I'm probably going to be cosplaying as the Black Doctor lady with the green, I always forget her name, with the green streaks in her hair. And, you know, she had a relationship with a robot. If that ain't me, I don't know.
Relationship with the robot. That's right. Yeah. That's actually where I came in on that episode. And the reason that I liked it so much was I felt it was like a kind of neat take on that story where Data was dating. And I immediately felt comfortable and was like, oh, I get where they're coming from. And I really liked it. And then after that, I kept watching it. But I came in late, is my point, to the Orville. So I've never even seen the first season, you know. So
well, the first season was great, and the second season has some of the best like writing. Like the second season is so incredibly good. Like it's just not it's not even right how good the second season is. Like I was genuinely floored by how good the second season is. And they do so much amazing stuff with so many incredible characters that are Trek-like, but totally brand new in their own different thing. Like what they've done with the Orville is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, in my humble opinion. So,
yeah, I agree. I agree. Now, Ronnie does say he hasn't seen it. He says, that's correct. I have yet to see the Orville. He says, Casey has watched it. Ha ha. So I find that shocking, Ronnie. I find it shocking that Ronnie has not seen something that I've seen. Like usually It's always the opposite way. It's like, he's like, oh yeah, I watched that. Like, I'm not watching that. He's like, yeah, I watch it, you know? So it's a different experience for me. And also, hey, Jane's in the house. She says, hey guys, so glad to see you, Jane. It's awesome to see you. Awesome to see you. It's been a while, hasn't it? And she says it's great to see A'Ja. So
she's my costume mom hero. She is. She's with the original OGs. I'm like, oh yes, we are not worthy.
There you go.
Sewing outfits for ourselves and kids before it was cool. You're the bomb, Jane. You're the bomb.
Absolutely agree with that.
Goodness.
No, it's good to see a lot of the familiar faces in the Rogues Gallery because when we did this thing, we weren't sure anybody would come. You know.
Yeah, that's true. now see my brother is throwing the gauntlet down. Do you see
what did he say?
Yeah, he enjoyed Picard too. He is throwing the gauntlet. That's fighting words here, Ronnie. That's fighting words.
I'm with you, Ronnie. We're still friends. I like Picard. I got to see Hugh again. He was my dude.
I didn't, you know, one of the things that was one of the things I really liked. You know, you can go back and I don't think you were watching us when we did our reviews of Picard, and you can go back. So I'm on record. That was one of the things I really enjoyed, and I hated what they did to him. I couldn't believe it. I was like, the one thing I was enjoying, and spoiler alert, you know, they kill him off. You know, I'm like, oh my God, you're bringing back that trauma. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
I really liked what he did. In fact, we talked about the fact that because, you know, they were doing interviews and like, you know, Will Wheaton has his little show after show where he would interview the actors. I can't remember if it came from that or from an article, but the hug came from him, the actor. That wasn't in the script where he just hugs Picard. He came up with that because in my mind, that show is so dark and depressing. They couldn't have a moment like that, but he did it. He was like, no, I'm just going up and hugging him because I think that's what he would do. I think that's what my character would do. But that wasn't in the script. That was him. That was the actor that decided to do that. So but he was one of the highlights of the show, in my opinion. He was actually one of the things I really liked. And then I was like, of course they kill him. Of course, because this is a dark, depressing show. So,
well,
sorry, bring me back. You're bringing me back.
I need Guinan, and I saw the Borg Queen, and
they'll kill her too. Watch, they're gonna kill her too. No, they wouldn't dare to kill Guinan. They wouldn't dare to do that. That's too much. But they can kill poor Hugh. That's fine. You know what I mean? So. And Hollywood says it's about Picard versus the Picardinator.
The Picardinator. All right.
We're locutus of Ford.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to our second topic. So I think we're getting a little bit of feedback now, but
sorry.
So the second thing we want to talk about is actually Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Book of Boba Fett is I am really enjoying. A'Ja knows this. I am thoroughly enjoying Book of Boba Fett. The first episode was good. Second, third was kind of but I was still enjoying it. But the last 3 episodes have been so positively incredible. Last episode, we don't want to do any spoilers, but if you are a long-term Star Wars fan and you have not been watching the Book of Boba Fett, you need to go watch the Book of Boba Fett. The last episode alone is totally worth the price of admission. I was completely stunned at what I was watching. I literally could not believe it. My inner 8-year-old was absolutely screaming in excitement and was on the edge of my seat. I've just been absolutely amazed at how good those last 3 episodes was. And Eric, I think you said you haven't been watching Book of Boba Fett, correct?
Yeah, I watched the first episode. I wasn't happy, and I haven't gone back. I think a lot of people who have watched the show in the past probably know some of my gripes, you know, before I even say them. I mean, I'll always say the mask thing. I do not feel the need to see Boba Fett's face every 5 seconds, that he needs to take his helmet off every 5 seconds. When he never did that in the original Star Wars, we never saw him without his helmet off. And, you know, he even in the context of what's happened since, right, in the Mandalorian, for instance, in the Mandalorian, he was all about getting his armor back. But now he's got to take his helmet off every 5 seconds, you know, after all that work to get the armor back. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I like the mystery. I don't think we got to see the actor's gorgeous smug every 5 seconds. I feel that way about all these different characters, going all the way back to Marvel stuff, things like that. Because I care about the character. You know what I mean? To me, it's about the character and that mystery and that foreboding and all that kind of stuff. A lot of it comes from the outfit, from the uniform. So I haven't liked that. I do think, I just want to say one thing is that I do think he's not, and I've heard this criticism from other quarters. He's too much like the Mandalorian and not enough like Boba Fett, because Boba Fett's a bad guy. And you know, Dave, you even were the one that said that one time when we were reviewing the Mandalorian. It's like Boba Fett is supposed to be a bad guy. He is not an anti-hero. He's not anything like that. You know, this whole thing, like he didn't really like Jabba or something like that. He was Jabba's lackey. He was Jabba's boy. You know, oh, I'm going to Jabba reigned with fear. Guess who enforced that fear? It was Boba Fett. You know what I mean? He was his henchman, his lackey. Now he's like, oh, I'm going to do respect and stuff like that. Boba Fett is not a good guy.
There's so much backstory that they give you for him now, though. And the original Boba Fett, wasn't even supposed to be Boba Fett. There were supposed to be one new stormtroopers, but they couldn't afford to make multiple versions of that costume. So what happened when they came up with the Boba Fett costume, there's supposed to be these elite stormtroopers. Like, they can actually hit what they shoot, like scary. And they did a test spinning of the suit. Like, oh, this is great. Until they went, okay, how much is going to cost us to make like enough of these to look like we have 100 stormtroopers? They went, okay, so we get one guy and we need to give him a backstory. So they painted it silver and then they put paint over it. And they're like, all right, he's one guy. What's one guy? A bounty hunter. And that's how the whole Boba Fett legend started. He was originally supposed to be like the joke I make, the dubstep trooper. Instead, because of financial reasons, they only made one suit. Then it went from white because it was going to be a stormtrooper. They turned it silver, but because it was going to be a customized metal suit, they put that paint job over it. And then
So
just
Dave,
came up
you
with a
have the
backstory
hot
for
toy
it.
of that, don't you? I think you've shown it on the air.
I don't have the
white
hot
Boba
toy,
Fett?
but I have the prototype. Unfortunately, he's in a box somewhere where I'd get him out. But
I think you've shown it on the show before, haven't you?
I have.
Boba
Yeah,
Fett?
it's one of my favorite things. But yeah, it's actually the Black Series, and it's the white prototype version of Boba Fett, and it's really cool. And talking about hot toys, the one hot toy in hindsight I wish I would have bought is actually the Boba Fett that's painted the way he looks in the holiday special. Sideshow actually did one of those.
Yeah, those colors were so crazy.
Yeah, I agonized over that. Actually, Matt Henshaw, who I do a podcast with called the Quad City Events Microcast, we were actually texting back and forth because they had it on sale. And Matt and I were literally going back and forth with each other. Like, I want to buy it, but I don't know. And I'm like, I want to buy it too, but I don't know either. Neither one of us bought the damn thing. It's ridiculous, but we both wanted to. And but no, I've had a fascination with Boba Fett for years, ever since I was a little kid, and I always thought he was really cool. But in all honesty, Eric, they do give us actually a backstory and a reason for why Boba Fett is the way he is.
It's partly in the first episode. I mean, I watched it, so I know what you're talking about. Ronnie says he's a changed man and wants to instill respect and trust.
My boy.
And I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't like that. So you know what I mean?
Right.
I want a bad guy. That's what I've always liked about this is the guy, who bested Han Solo. That to me is one of the big reasons that he was always a cool character, because he was the one who was able to catch Han Solo. You know what I mean? So that's pretty significant.
Elbowed in the Sarlacc pit, like.
and keep in mind, how did he wind up in the Sarlacc pit, right? So it's like, it's very much a direct result of Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and his fight with them. So you shouldn't like these guys, you know what I mean? So that's where I'm coming from. But Jane's in the house. She says, I'm really enjoying Book of Boba Fett.
That's right.
That's awesome. If you're liking it, I mean, there's all sorts of things I like that other people don't. It's always been that way.
I feel like you're missing out, Eric. There's so
I'm serious, Eric. The last 3 episodes are so good.
The entire franchise all together, better than the movies ever could have accomplished. It was so good. My daughter, she was like gonna leave. She's like, "Oh, mom's doing her nerd thing again." She goes, "Wait, is that?" And I'm not gonna say what it is because people have to watch it. She sat down. We're screaming. I was simultaneously watching it with Dave. Dave screaming on the phone. I'm like, did you see that?
I'm serious. Like the last 3 episodes,
we were all yelling. Good. We were all.
And the last episode. Oh my god, the last episode! I could not believe what I was seeing. The last episode. All I was just like going is. All I could think is like this. This is what I've been wanting. Like seriously, this is what I've been wanting. And then they brought some Clone Wars stuff in. I'm not going to say what it was, and I was losing my mind. I could not believe what I was seeing. They even killed a character. Well, I shouldn't say this, but they killed a character that I really like, and I was totally okay with it because of who did it.
Wait, but are they dead?
I think so. I don't think so. I think so.
Now, I'm going to vote that character.
How many episodes are left? I think there's just one.
I think there's one more. I think
you
there's
serious?
one more. I think there is
I think
one
that's
more.
it, right?
Oh gosh,
I could be wrong, but I think there's going to be one more.
I can't live
Because
like this.
That cliffhanger was pretty brutal.
It was brutal. I was
extremely
like, y'all
brutal.
wrong for that. I was like, remember how mad I was? I was straight up angry. Straight up mad. I was like, yeah, even my daughter's like, okay, forget this. That's how serious the cliffhanger was.
The cliffhanger was absolutely ridiculous. I was like, you can't
do that. That was upsetting. That was just torture.
Well, Jane says the last episode was mind-blowing. So, and I have heard a lot of people say they really liked the last episode. And I've even kind of caught a little glimpse of some spoilers here and there because you can't seem to go on the internet without that happening. So, we'll see. I mean, I could always come back and decide to watch it. Ronnie makes the point. He said, hey, it's character growth. He says, I will remain on this hill. I'm all about character growth. I actually talk about that kind of stuff on the show all the time. Character growth is something that I like. I do like it when a character changes. I guess I'm just not buying it. You know what I mean? I guess that's where I'm coming from. I'm just not buying
it.
I'm getting one complaint from all my friends, though, that are like, they like it, but they have a big complaint. They're like, well, I thought this was strictly the Boba Fett show. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Because some of the guests sometimes, overshadow Boba Fett.
Yeah, I've heard that complaint.
I'm like, no, come on. We can't have Boba Fett without some of the background characters. And there are so many callbacks to the episode 1, the New Hope, all the movies. There's just so much. There are people taking apart models right now. I'm trying not to give it away. It's ridiculous.
There's some amazing prequel callbacks. Like, I mean, the last 3 episodes, I've been completely stunned.
I think I'm gonna give this one. This one's not bad. This one is not too much of a spoiler, but we all, know that they blew up his ship.
Right.
What's it called? Thanks.
Razor Crest.
We all know that the Mandalorian ship was blown up. But, there's the lady that fixes them. She's like, I didn't rebuild your ship, but I found some spare parts. And I was yelling because it was a Naboo fighter. I go, that's a freaking Naboo. That's Amidala. I'm screaming.
I actually always liked the Naboo fighter. I always thought that was a cool design.
You need to see the last episode then. No, not this one. The one before. Watch the one before this last episode. I've
always liked that design. I've always thought that was... I like that one.
Eric, if you watch the episode before this one, you will like it because nobody's taking any helmets off.
Actually,
everybody leave their helmets on.
And let me take it even a step further. It turns out there's consequences for taking those helmets off.
Exactly. And they bring it up in the show.
Yeah, they bring it up and there are consequences.
And you would have been happy about it. So you need to jump back on the bandwagon. Go ahead. Go ahead. The horse is not moving that far. Go ahead.
The consequence actually was pretty extreme. I was kind of surprised at what happened and I felt really bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like going, wow, okay, they were not joking about that. I was really surprised. They called it out.
I think I posted a meme about it on Twitter. Did you see my Twitter meme about it?
I might have missed the Twitter meme because I'm just not on Twitter.
Eric, did you see my Twitter meme about the helmets being taken off?
I don't think I did.
So it was the Mandalorian in bed with the lady that makes the armor.
I did see that one.
Yeah, I did see that one.
Yeah, I did.
It's like he probably took off his helmet.
Yeah, I like that one. I did see that one. I liked it.
Yeah, that is a good one.
But that's the episode where she was talking about the consequences of taking the helmet off, and you need to watch that one because it's the same one that has a Naboo fighter in it, and that's not the only ship either. So just not this episode, it just went the one before it, and you'll probably be much happier.
All right. Well, the interesting thing is I still have time to actually watch this before the last episode comes out. and maybe next week, Dave, and you and I will actually have a more in-depth discussion about the show with spoilers and all. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Once the series is concluded, because I think it comes out on Wednesdays, right?
Yes.
No, yeah.
So then
then-
the last episode will come out next week, right before the show. So maybe for even just for the sake of the show, maybe I'll just go ahead and watch it, and then I'll give you. We can go back and forth. Maybe I'll love it, maybe I'll hate it, whatever, and we'll just talk about it. You know what I mean?
Remember when I found all those Easter eggs? I was spotting them like crazy.
And I think
rattling off Easter eggs.
I think if you're okay with it, Eric, I think it'd be fun to have A'Ja back too, since we're talking about
absolutely.
Book of Boba Fett, and then we could kind of put a bow on the whole thing.
Absolutely. So. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to check it out, like I said, for the sake of the show. Ronnie mentions.
I honestly think you'll like it. I really do. The last 2 episodes in particular are really good.
We'll see.
I'm
Stay
right
tuned,
there
folks.
with Ronnie about that.
So Ronnie says, if we don't get a Black Series vehicle of the new ship, I'm going to be upset. Hasbro, free money for you. So I guess he's pretty impressed by it. I haven't seen it. So
people are actually taking apart their old models and toys of the old Naboo fighter to create the new ship.
Oh, like a custom? Yeah. That's cool. I like it when people do that. That's pretty neat, actually.
And the comedy is we were watching them do it on the actual show.
On the actual episode.
Right. In the meantime, everyone had the models of the parts they're using. I just saw them just sawing them in half. Because how many I named all the parts, didn't I? I kept saying what parts. I go, that's from this, that's from this. He's like, holy, oh my God. And this one, I'm gonna just say this one. Remember that giant rod they had in their hand?
Yes.
Do you know what that was?
No. It was the trash compactor. Yeah,
the trash compactor scene in Star Wars. That's the part they were using to keep the trash compactor from crushing them, and it ends up smushing. They used that on the ship. I was like, what is that? Easter eggs everywhere. It's just bunnies and Easter eggs.
It was a lot of fun, and literally the last episode, like I honestly didn't think we were going to see that stuff this soon. Like I was really kind of shocked, and I loved every single. Yeah, I loved every single minute of it. I was just, and then they showed me something that I've always wanted to see.
Yep.
That I honestly thought we would never, ever, ever see, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe. We'll talk more about it next week, but I'll tell you what that scene was.
You need to watch it. I'm hyperventilating.
I'll do it. I'll. Hey, I forced myself through Picard, and I'm not trying to say Boba Fett is anywhere near as bad as Picard. So, I mean,
don't worry.
I feel you with Picard, Eric. You know that.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he was there. I mean, that was a miserable 10 weeks, man.
No. I mean, I'm as an original trilogy series fan, that last episode alone is totally worth watching. That last episode. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people say that. Watching. I mean, I have heard a lot of people say they really liked the episode, but I'm just not digging the characterization of Boba Fett. So I'll give it a shot. Like I said, it's at least something to talk about.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So let's go ahead and go to our last topic, unless there's anything else in the Rogues Gallery. So here we go. Last thing I want to talk about is there's actually a Halo television series that is actually in production. A'Ja, this was actually your topic that you picked. So why don't you tell us what you've learned about this Halo television series?
Well, just so you know, they did try launching Halo originally on 2 times. It was on Waypoint a long time ago. For those of you that had the Xbox Waypoint, they had micro series. You can see the micro series on YouTube on a few episodes where they were really testing it out. Neil Blomkamp
is that the one where they're like have the cadets and then they're rescued by I've seen that one where Master Chief just shows up like at the end and
it's not or whatever. It wasn't, it was more like backstory, kind of like did you watch the Halo? I forgot what it's called, where they had all the animated shorts.
I haven't
You
seen
haven't
that
seen
one.
that? Well, it was
I
similar.
bet my brother knows what it is. Ronnie, holler it out because I know Ronnie knows.
Yes, because it was like when they did the Matrix ones where they had all those different animations. They did something similar for Halo. So it was more like, oh, by the way, here's Master Chief. This is the actual Master Chief show. So they're going through the Covenant is there. It's the whole Master Chief, that like everything, because the new game just came out. And they're going with the original Halo story, which was Master Chief. You didn't have all these background characters. The only thing I'm iffy about is, I don't know if you can find the graphic for it, but the Cortana in this show, oh Lord, why didn't they just find
I've heard that.
lady?
I actually, without even looking for it, I've seen people reacting to that, and some pretty strong negative reaction.
And I'm going to agree with them because, first of all, the CGI version of her looks better than the actual human they got to play with for. I think there might be a new, what is it called? Commercial. Is the Super Bowl this weekend?
No, I don't think it's this
I think
weekend.
it's another. Yeah, not this
Is it?
weekend.
Yeah.
Well, the next weekend's Valentine's weekend.
It's the Super Bowl
Are
on
you
Valentine's.
serious?
Nope, I think it is.
Okay, that's ridiculous. All right, whatever. I'm trying to find. There was one thing I wanted to. Okay, so the guy playing Master Chief, his name's Pablo Schreiber. I'll just read the. See, there it is. There's that Cortana.
The
That's
picture
ridiculous.
you're talking about, right?
That is, and I believe it looks like the actress they have playing Halsey, Dr. Halsey, which is counterproductive. In the game, Dr. Halsey needs a way to control the Spartans because she's been creating the Spartans forever. A lot of you already know the Halo story, but what they've done is they've taken the actress that plays Halsey and made her Cortana. I'm sure that's going to be some kind of foolish TV plot thing they're doing. That is going to be the thing that makes me mad. There's like, oh, yeah, she's a copy of Halsey. The heck she is. In the video game, Cortana and Halsey are mortal enemies. It is ridiculous. But I'm trying to look at, I had up when it was supposed to come out. Can you bring that up for me, Eric? The date it's supposed to be out.
Yeah, I
March 24th. Okay, so it's going to come out on March 24th. And I love Pablo Schreiber. I think he's going to be great as Master Chief. The animation for the Covenant is fantastic. So for all the aliens and everything, they look great. I don't know if I'm trying to see if they're using practical effects or not, but it doesn't look like crappy animation. The music sounds great. The lighting looks great. Everything that they were trying to perfect with the smaller shows. I don't know if they talked to Neil Blomkamp or not. I feel like they did because I wish we had gotten our Halo movie that he was working on. I'm still fighting for that, but I think it's going to look amazing. And Paramount's really plugging it. Like they had like even the football players singing the orchestra. Oh,
really?
Yeah, there's a commercial out where they got all the different Paramount cast members are like around like the fire, and they have a couple of football players for like Super Bowl, and they're roasting marshmallows. And he's like, why is everybody singing that? Oh, Halo's coming out. Oh. But I think it's great. The animation on it, other than that is ridiculous. Like,
I've heard a lot of negative reaction to that.
We were all happy. We were seeing so many I think there's an image of the Arbiter too. Arbiter looks great. Like it just looks amazing. The plasma blade. I actually have one of the Covenant plasma blades. I can bring that out next time. I should have just grabbed it. I bought one for when Halo comes out because I need to cosplay. I actually, it's on my Facebook. So if you go search me, A'Ja Ewing, you look through my profile pictures, I have red Spartan armor, but it's customized to have female parts. But the show is following the video game's real story. I do see they're tweaking. You can probably see it in the commercial. The thing that's bugging me is definitely it's looking like they're trying to make it so like, remember what they did in the Aliens franchise where you found out Bishop was a dude that built Bishop and we were not happy. Wasn't that Alien 3, if I remember correctly? Isn't that the end of Alien 3?
Yep, Alien 3.
Where the guy that built Bishop shows up. She's like, "You're not Bishop." He's like, "Yeah, I made him." I'm like, that was when they lost me on the movie. I'm like, I'm out. Done. I'm out. I couldn't watch another Alien film. I did like the one after that, though. With the Ripley clones, that was good. But I feel like that's where they're going with Halo.
Let me segue just to Alien for just a second. My brother knows this. I'm a huge fan of Aliens as a franchise.
I am too.
And those movies are all over the place. Really great, awful. But I have a tremendous amount of respect actually for Alien 3 because of all the nonsense that went into, like the legend of how we even got that bad movie in the first place. I find is so interesting. It's ridiculous how we end up at Alien 3. So the fact that there's even a slightly remotely coherent story at all, I think is amazing when you see all the nonsense that happened. So I love the legend of Alien. And I will say the score for Alien 3 is absolutely incredible.
Okay,
that
music's great.
Something else.
We should have gotten did you read the graphic novel, the one Newt's Tale? I don't know why they didn't make that into a film.
I don't either. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's so many better stories to tell that could have been Alien 3. But it's like when you hear the whole nonsense of like they brought in the guy who did what was it, the Navigator or whatever the hell it was, Flight of the whatever. They brought it. Yeah, but it was so crazy because they brought this guy in, he pitched a story. They started building sets and they were going to make this movie. And then at the 11th hour, they went, well, can't we just change everything? And they fired him. And then they brought in David Fincher, who's an absolutely phenomenal director. And then David Fincher was trying to cobble together a movie without a script, with sets that were built for a completely different movie. Like, it's absolutely insane. The fact that there's even a remotely coherent story at all is just because David Fincher is that talented. And
that's how we got the Han Solo film. I'm kidding. I actually like it.
Oh, there you go. All right. You win. But my brother did call it out in the chat in the Rogues Gallery. He said it was Halo Legends.
Yes, Halo Legends. Yes.
There you go.
Halo Legends. That's. But I'm not here for Halsey and Cortana to be the same person, because if they're trying to give us that it's cutting edge, it's such a surprise. No, don't do that. Don't insult my intelligence. And all I care about, the one thing I haven't seen in any of the trailers, the Flood. The Flood is Halo's answer to the Thing movies. So if you wanted to see all the Thing alien species running around everywhere, that's the Flood. And I'm like, can we see the Flood? We need a movie with the Flood in it. I am here. It is the Flood. It's the Hurricane Katrina. Come on, where's that Flood?
Well, Ronnie says he can't wait for this series.
I can't wait either, Ronnie. I'm excited. I'll be singing it too.
All right, very cool.
All right, boys, we're at 8.
Yep, it's 8 o'clock.
Is it our bedtime? Do we need to get up in the morning? You haven't eaten. You might have eaten.
I haven't eaten, so I still need to. Yeah.
Ronnie,
I got an entire chicken pot pie at my house. Let's go.
Well, Ronnie did mention that he watched that documentary with you, Dave, the one on Aliens 3. You've mentioned that before on the show.
Yeah, it's fascinating. There are 2 documentaries I recommend to people if you're curious about the process of filmmaking and sometimes how best intentions could lead you totally awry. The first one is the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. Actually, the documentary that comes with the theatrical version of the movie is absolutely incredible, because you totally see how this movie just went completely off the rails. How it started in a good place and they had the right idea, and you could just see it. Like you could just, as you're watching the documentary, it's like, I get it. I see where this went wrong. And Alien 3 is great too, because Alien 3, right from the beginning, you go, oh, this is not going to work. Like from the very beginning, a wooden planet in space? What? What the hell are you talking?
When I
the
just
sky?
When I heard basically that they killed everybody off, you know, I was just like, I have no interest in this movie. You know, because I wanted to see like a direct sequel. I wanted to see what happened to those other characters. Because a friend of mine, he told me, he was like, yeah, they're dead. I'm like, what?
Yep.
Yeah, they're dead. You know, I'm like,
and part
you
of
know,
the
I'm like,
fun
no,
of
I have no interest in this movie. You know what I mean? So,
Dave, did you get the prequel comic that they put out before the movie, Alien 3?
No, I've never seen it. Have you seen it, Dave?
No.
Are you kidding? You of all people?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
So before Alien 3 came out, they actually issued a prequel comic for it, kind of like, you know, with your movie. And it shows what happened between it. You know how there's a little scene in the beginning where it shows what happened to everybody in the movie? They did a comic book that elaborated on it. And they were it was a small comic book too. I wish I kept it. It's probably worth somebody look that up. But they did it, and it gave you that they were trying to help that funky backstory of when everybody died.
Yeah.
You know, kind of to brace you for what happened, and it didn't help.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't help. But see, I'll part of what I'm saying, what's interesting too about that documentary is that Michael Biehn actually talks about like how he felt about that. Like and he even talks about, he's like, no way that thing's coming out of my chest. And it's really interesting to see kind of how he was, you know, feeling about it too, because he very much was thinking, it's like, wasn't the next movie supposed to be the adventures of you know, Hicks and Ripley and Newt? Like,
that's what I wanted. That's all I wanted.
The family, like
that's
fighting it. Like, isn't that how that's supposed to go? So
they were
still, you know what I mean?
It actually got shelved recently because, again, I don't know why they won't give Neil Blomkamp a movie. What, do they hate him? But they'll let M. Shyamalan make more. He was going to make another Alien movie. They were going to retcon 3, and it was going to have Ripley. Michael Biehn was going to come back as Hicks, and they were going to do exactly what they were going to do after the second film. They were going to say that 3 was them. It was a hypersleep nightmare. And all the actors were on board. That Ripley was, Sigourney Weaver was on board. Michael Biehn was on board. Even the lady who's grown played Newt was on board.
Really?
Yes. And it got tanked. He did promotional art for it. It's out there. If you look it up, Neil Blomkamp Alien film, you will see all of the art that he did that had done for it, and it was phenomenal. It showed Ripley in his cool suit. It was amazing. And we're waiting on the shelf. Nothing.
Yeah, we got Covenant instead.
And we got Hotel Transylvania like 7, but
yeah.
That's right.
You know,
that's true.
And you know, and I don't know what the deal is too, because I am a huge fan of Neil Blomkamp. I've enjoyed all of his movies, even Elysium. I know some people didn't like Elysium. I actually quite like.
I like Elysium. I still say release the cougar.
Yeah, and actually the art direction on those films is so incredible. I actually not back here anymore. Actually, it's now in my new living room, and my new living room is where my bookcases are now, everyone. And out there is the art of District 9 and Elysium, because I feel like the art direction on those films is so incredible. And I don't know. I would have loved to have seen Neil Blomkamp's vision. And when you look at what we're getting right now, when you look at what like Warner Brothers and everyone else is doing, I would like to think that maybe there might be some time in the future where you could have different interpretations of different things. You know,
they're giving him a sequel to District 9, though. That's coming out. I saw the poster for that. I don't think it's a fake one. I think it's a real one. And I was screaming when I saw it. I was like, yes, I need the next. That's where I'm worried about the casual fan with the District 9. That's when I'm concerned about casual fan errors.
Because it's been a long time.
How long has it been?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's kind of like Independence Day is one that comes to mind. It's like that movie totally should have had a sequel like immediately. And then they just waited way too long. And as I understand it, nobody liked it. You know what I mean? I never got a chance to see it because it was out of the theater in like 1 week. You know what I mean?
I felt like how you guys must feel watching Picard. I'm like, this is so raw.
But at the time it came out, I mean, that could have been a franchise. You know what I mean? Like it was so popular and it was so well received. I mean, I remember people in the audience cheering during that movie because they were so into it, you know?
I felt it.
When I saw it in the theater, it was a packed house and I mean, people were really into it, but they just waited way too long, you know, to do anything with it.
Definitely. What was the name of the actor to play the president? I forgot his Bill Pullman. Like everybody was like this while Bill Pullman was like doing nothing. We will not.
Today we celebrate our Independence Day. Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, America.
I was so into it. I even read the novelization of that, which the novelization has the original ending, which is where, you know, Randy Quaid's character actually is in a crop duster, which I'm so glad they got rid of that because that's just so stupid. You know, the idea that so there's footage from that too, because they actually they were going to do that. So the idea was they didn't let him fly. So he gets in this crop duster and like straps a bomb to it and crashes into the, I'm like, oh, that would have been so bad. The way they did it was so much better. You know what I mean? I love that movie when it first came
back.
out.
I love that bit.
Yeah.
I'm back.
But again, they really screwed up with that. They just waited way too long.
Yeah, they waited way too long.
Way too long.
They're like, ID, what is that?
Yeah.
Wasn't Will Smith in that movie? Where are the other people? I'm like, oh, they're fat. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
James Stone's in the house. Hi, James.
Hey, James. Good to see you.
Hey, James. No, yeah, and I remember I was really wanted to go see that sequel to Independence Day, but I didn't get a chance to see it.
I didn't either. I didn't even get a chance to see it because it was out. I mean, it was gone within a week. I mean,
I saw it in the theater, and I could have had a V8.
There you go. There you go.
Ronnie says Will Smith probably laughed him off the phone. You know, when they were pitching it to him, he's just like, not probably happening. You know what I mean?
He's like, I'll do a Fresh Prince movie first. Exactly. And I'll wear the original outfit like I'm not grown. I have to bring up something funny. Dave was it was during when you were sick and I was sick. Because you were sick at home, I was sick at home, and we were talking about the fact we were sick at home. Yeah. And we were watching Battle Beyond the Stars. And I've been dying to watch Battle Beyond the Stars with someone because of wardrobe malfunction problems in the movie that has sat there for over 30 years and no one has brought it up.
So, A'Ja pointed this out. And now I can't unsee it, but Sybil Danning's costume, it does appear that there is something that's been there
the whole
30 years and no one has ever noticed. It's even in the publicity photos. It's completely, I can't unsee it now. Between that and the fact that there's a guy who looks like, the guy looks like he's from Hall & Oates. He comes walking out of nowhere. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I was now I can't unsee any of this stuff.
I would just throw in all of this stuff at it because we're watching the movie. And of course, you know, John Boy's in it. And there's John Boy and his mole. And he's like, you know, he's the Luke Skywalker of the film. And then what's the character from A-Team?
George Peppard.
Hannibal Smith.
Yeah,
Hannibal. The character's Hannibal, right? Hannibal.
Thank you. So here's Hannibal in a cowboy hat. Fine. I will accept the fact that his belt buckle serves alcohol. I will accept it. But why every time he goes to drink it, there's a glass? Where's the glass? there's this big old scene where you have the brightly colored 80s alien peaceful creatures, and it looks like Lionel Richie's All Night Long is about to start. All night long, all night. So that's over. Somebody gets shot, and here comes this one character, blue shirt, that looks just like John Oates from Hall & Oates. I even found a picture of John Oates, same hairstyle in a blue shirt on the cover of an album during when, I forgot what song it is, but he just comes and just, I go, why is John Oates there? He goes, oh my God, he looks just like
I never noticed it before.
It kept getting worse and worse because funnier things. I'm just pointing out all the stuff. I go, okay, why is that way and that like it was just one thing, but Tipgate was my favorite thing because I want to tell you something. Because how old were you when your mom took you to see that movie?
I don't know. I was very young.
You're like 7 or something.
Yeah, I was probably 7.
And I'm thinking of Jane and Dave when this film came out, and he's all watching it. He's like, oh, ships and Star Wars and stuff. This is great. And the whole time, there it is. Just there it is. There it is. And then, all the magazines that they had those shots in. I pulled, how many pictures did I pull for you? About 6? And
yeah, quite a few.
Different books. And they all have that wardrobe malfunction. And nobody has said anything. And it's been there for over 30 years. Uncensored. Just waiting.
Yeah, my brother actually calls it out in the chat. He says it's Battle Beyond the Nipples. Because it very clearly looks like Sybil Danning's nipple is clearly visible. And no one's ever noticed it. And it's been there, like A'Ja's saying, for over 30. I've never I never noticed it before, and I'm like, now I can't unsee it. So
I called it Nipplegate.
Yeah, Nipplegate. Nipplegate.
That does happen, though. It is funny sometimes. The movies, I mean, even popular movies, sometimes they'll have something in there that like nobody's noticed, and then just one day somebody's like, look at that.
I've been here the whole time by myself.
Yeah,
I must infect others. he can't see that movie anymore because he's gonna hear all my jokes that I made the whole time.
Yeah.
Lionel Richie, like, I can't remember all the jokes I made. I made so many. You were crying.
The Lionel Richie song was I think the point at which I was like, going, okay, this is getting out of hand, because it literally looked like that was about to happen. So yeah,
oh, and then in Blind Gandalf.
Oh yeah, Blind Gandalf, the death of Blind. That makes no sense to me too, because even in the context of the story, why in the hell was Zed wandering around like just in the middle of this battle? The guy can't see, he's got no chaperone, he's just in the trenches, and then I couldn't help it because he died, and then Zed's dead. So there's your Pulp Fiction. Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. So yeah, it's just, I love that movie still because I've loved it since I was a kid, but I didn't realize it was that.
I ruined it. It's awesome.
Oh, there's so much stuff.
My favorite way is the way Sybil Danning steers her ship.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
They're like, I don't think that's where controllers go.
Oh goodness.
So Dave now has.
I feel like I gotta go rewatch the movie now. You know what I mean? So
yes, please. You'll know exactly what we're talking about when it happens. I'm like, oh yeah, there's John Oates.
And my mom does call it out actually in the chat. She says it's an all-day sci-fi movies for one ticket. I honestly did not notice it either. And Mom, I'll just tell you right now, that all-day movie sci-fi marathon thing we did together is still one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. And for me, that was not only the first time I saw Battle Beyond the Stars, because that was the new movie. That was the movie that ended the marathon. But that's where my love of Star Crash comes from. We saw Star Crash, the really bad Italian Star Wars ripoff movie. with a crazy sheriff robot character. I love Star Crash. Adventures of Stella Star. Hell yeah, sign me up. But in addition to that, too, they showed the theatrical release version of Battlestar Galactica, the 2-hour theatrical Battlestar Galactica. They showed the theatrical 2-hour version of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, which was really great. That was the first time I saw Flash Gordon, the 1980s Flash Gordon. And
I love
all
that
of those,
movie so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a cult classic.
Timothy Dalton's in that movie.
Yep. Well, and I keep referencing that scene because I love that moment where Flash actually saves Prince Baron and pulls him back on the platform. And he's kind of shook to his core, and he just looks at me and says, "Where you go, I follow." I love to, use that actually with people that are close to me, because to me, that's such a powerful line, and from that moment on, Prince Baron is at Flash's side. And it's funny because even though we see some of that, we don't see too much of it in the movie, because I had grown up reading a lot of the Flash Gordon newspaper strips, the original Alex Raymond stuff. I am a huge fan of actually, Flash, and Hollywood's calling out Flash. But I love Al Williamson's work on Flash Gordon. There's just been so much fantastic work. And for me, I immediately took all those adventures and those stories I had read and immediately imprinted upon that moment, that's how that all started. So I see Prince Baron as always at Flash's side. So,
I love the bird guys.
Yeah, me too. I was as a kid.
Those are my dudes right there.
Yeah.
Those bird guys, because what was the leader's name? The leader of the bird. He's
Voltan.
like my favorite. Yes,
it's Voltan.
Voltan is the bomb. He's like, yeah.
He's also the king from the first season of Blackadder.
Oh,
if you've ever seen Blackadder,
I see Blackadder. See, that makes me want to rewatch all that.
Brian Blessed, the actor, is actually also, he's a tremendous actor. He's been in a ton of stuff, but he actually is Robin of Locksley's father in the Prince of Thieves movie.
I was watching
that. He's Robin Hood's father.
The one that gets killed.
He's the one that goes out and he's set up in the very beginning of the film. Yep. Like, it's still hard to watch. I'm like, where are your Eagle buddies at? This is rude.
Long live King
I didn't
Richard.
know it was the same guy. I didn't know that.
I love too, because it's they're coming. It's interesting because it's one of the few movies where you kind of see the Knight kind of in that like total. The Knight is supposed to be like a protector, and is supposed to watch over people that are in his charge. They were lords of and it's really interesting because I love that opening scene, because that guy comes and he's like, "Oh, I've got this problem," and whatever. And he runs over and he grabs the sword like someone would grab like the shotgun or the rifle off the wall. And I love that. That's so awesome. Yeah. And you just see him in his gear and he goes riding out this. He's going to go out and do what a knight does. He's going to go out and right this wrong. And I love that. It's so awesome. So I quite like the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie. So
watching Hans Gruber be the sheriff of Nottingham is stressful. I want to marry her. Make her marry me, mother. Mother, she must want me.
It's still fun, though.
Hollywood says he just saw it a few weeks ago on Stir.
Hollywood's always watching this awesome sci-fi stuff on Stir. I'm kind of jealous, because I think Hollywood is the one who called out Space 1999, I think, is on Stir or something, too. And I've been looking for. That's the whole reason I had a subscription to Hulu for a long time, was because of Space 1999.
There are other channels, and once you go commercialless Hulu, it's hard to go back.
That's true. That's true. Once you don't have to sit through commercials, it's an unusual experience. Plus, also when you're able to talk into your remote and tell it what you want to watch, that's a new experience for me as well. So I didn't know such a thing existed.
Yeah,
I've converted Dave to technology. That's how we ended up watching Battle Beyond the Stars.
It is.
I'm like, Dave, he's like, I want to watch the movie. I go, why don't you watch Battle Beyond? I don't know what it's on. Ask your remote. He's like, what? Hit the button. He's like, Battle Beyond the Stars. Finding Battle Beyond the Stars. It's on IMDb. He's like,
I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could talk into remote control and it would like find things for you. I was just like, I don't even understand this. So
He kept saying,
'Cause
I
I
need to
was-
dig my DVDs
yeah,
out.
that's
I
what I
go,
was saying. I was gonna dig through all these DVDs. Like I
I
was
go,
like,
you have
I
COVID.
can't watch
Stop
anything
touching
yet. I
things.
gotta, yeah. So,
I go, you can
Oh,
wipe the
God.
remote off. Just I am I'm taking old school nerd with new technology and helping Dave transition to all that. It is a good time.
There you go.
It is a good time, isn't it, Dave? It is.
it is. She's helping me transition into a lot of things, which is nice. I shouldn't have
Alrighty
said
then.
that. My apologies.
I'm not bad. He just draws me that way.
There's some truth to that. Some truth.
I
to
love
that.
you guys.
And we love you too. So
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
I think I can. It's our pleasure, right, Dave? So
Definitely.
And,
definitely.
you're coming
Thank
back
you
next
for
week,
being
right?
here.
Oh heck
Yeah,
yeah!
we'll talk at least some more Book of Boba, and we'll probably come up with some
Yeah.
other topics as well.
I can't wait to talk to you, Eric, especially the last episode. I can't
Oh my
wait
God,
to hear
you
your
gotta
reaction.
I'll
watch
do
it.
it.
So
I'll do it.
Like he says that, like, I'll do it. I'm like,
I'll do
until he sees the episode with the new Boo Fighter. He's all like, yeah, so what I said was, it's the helmets, but I wasn't looking at no helmets that time. So
Hey, Gap came back, and he just mentioned. He says, Mego just announced Ghostbusters figures of the original crew.
yes.
Pretty
oh, that's
cool.
cool.
I hadn't
That's
heard about
really
that.
cool.
Okay, I need
I
Egon.
have seen some of the figures that they have in the stores already, but I didn't know they were coming out with a Mego style. That's cool.
I need to get an Egon. Egon's always going to be my favorite character. Always, even in the cartoons. I have the
In the cartoons, he was totally my favorite character.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
cartoons.
I have a
I loved him
cell.
in the cartoons.
I have a cell, the little papers that they use to trace the cells from. I have one
Yeah.
of Egon that I got at one of the Phoenix Comic Cons
Oh, that's really cool.
from the
That's
actual
really cool.
Ghostbusters cartoon show.
That's cool.
And this is so weird because the people that made the show were there. Nobody had any clue what they were or who they were. It was Sunday and I was leaving. That's when I go to all the booths at the end to buy all the last minute stuff. No one wanted any of the stuff, so they gave me the dang thing.
Oh, really?
Because they had not heard of the cartoon show. My soul hurt.
Wow.
My soul hurt. I'm like, that is just sad. That's where we were. You talk about that, the disconnection from some of the cool stuff, like
Yep.
this generation, they have no idea what it is anymore. But the fact that they were just giving those away by the end, that like hurt. I'm glad I got mine. But still, like they seem so dejected. I'm like, but this is Egon. What the heck?
Yeah, that's
it's
crazy.
it's interesting because I actually worked on actually it was I think one of the first Ghostbuster trading card sets in like years and years and years. Cryptozoic actually put it out, and I had the opportunity to do sketch cards and stuff for that set, and we were allowed to do real Ghostbusters if we wanted. And basically 98% of all the sketch cards I did were all real Ghostbusters. That was everything I did because I just thought it would be really fun to celebrate the cartoon because I love the cartoon.
Yeah.
And there's very few stuff actually that was everyone else was drawing all the movie stuff, the original movie, which I love the original movie. But when I saw we could actually do the cartoon, because the cartoon is what kept it alive for me. That's what
It did. Those stories got so
continuing.
dense. They were doing Cthulhu stuff. My favorite is the Sam Hain storyline. Hey, before Jack Skellington, we had a different Pumpkin King. That was Sam Hain.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because another great series like that too, that actually took the premise from the movie and actually carried it on and moved it forward, actually was also Men in Black. I mean, the Men in Black cartoon I thought was really great too.
Did you watch the animated show? The animated show for Men in Black was amazing.
Oh yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. It was great.
I never saw that one.
Oh, dude, you gotta watch it. You got to watch it.
I'm familiar with it. I remember when it was out, but I never watched the Men in Black. I liked the first movie, but
it's grittier than the films were.
I've actually always wanted to check out the original comics. Just to see
yeah.
What they are or whatever. So, because I met the guy who did it. I met him at San Diego Comic-Con at one of the Writers Guild. They used to have the Animation Writers Caucus of the Writers Guild used to have a thing at San Diego Comic-Con, and I met him at that one year. And he was pretty cool. It was interesting to talk to. So, but I've never read the comics either. So, Gap had a little other news for us. He said, if you like the Scream movie series, they just greenlit Scream 6. I think I actually did see that on Twitter somewhere. I haven't been watching like the last ones. I liked the first 3, I think, and then I haven't seen them any of them since then. But
I have trouble between them and figuring out which one's Scary Movie.
Yeah, I like the Scary Movie franchise actually quite a bit. I actually really do.
I enjoyed all those horror movies that came out during that time period, so I thought they were fun. So, one of the ones I like that I don't hear many people talk about is I didn't care for the sequel, but I liked I Know What You Did Last Summer. I thought I like that one too.
That was good.
It had a great soundtrack too.
Yeah, so. I know what you did. Like, I felt like that was Cabin in the Woods without the science fiction.
Yep, yeah, and I still think it's one of the trippiest like covers of a song. That Typo Negative Summer Breeze. That's such a great cover of a song, and it totally fits that movie perfectly too.
I like the Jeepers Creepers series.
Yeah, Jeepers Creepers is good too.
That's one of my favorite ones. It's. I still put my kid on a school bus, but
oh goodness! All right.
Gap is also a fan of the scary movies. Says, "Oh my goodness, scary movies series was funny." So, yeah, I like that one. I'm a fan. In fact, I was looking for some of those the other day because they're not all on the same. I don't think they're not all on the same streaming platform. You have to go to different places to find those movies, the scary movies.
Yeah,
like you can't just go to one site and get them all. They're like all over the place. I don't know. There's some weird rights issue going on or something.
I had that problem. I just pick one. Shuffle, Hulu. Shuffle, Netflix. Shuffle.
Well, what's interesting too about some of those movies as well, because of the contracts with how it looks like we had a bot come in. Thanks, Gap.
I saw him, Gap. I saw your comment and I got rid of him. So
what's interesting is a lot of those movies from the 90s, because of the contracts that were actually written for the soundtracks, the movie music. It's interesting because whenever they re-release those, either in a streaming platform or even like on a Blu-ray or a DVD, a lot of times the music is actually stripped off of them and they have to put in placeholder music because of how the contracts were written.
That's crazy.
It's really, and sometimes it destroys those movies.
Do you remember the old Tour of Duty series? It was a show about Vietnam. Yeah. And it was really edgy and controversial when it came out. They have that on Heroes and Icons every Saturday. Took all the music out, including the beginning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which just kills the show. Like the new intro,
not the same thing.
It's this generic, bland music. I mean, the original, it was what was it? It's a super famous piece of music that's totally associated with that time period and Vietnam and everything. And it's very well known.
Unfortunate Son.
No, it's not
Fortunate Son.
What you said, I think you got it, Dave.
I think it's Painted Black, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And they took it out. Black. It just ruins the show. It's like I can't watch this without that intro. You know what I mean? It's like just takes it all away.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably why you were not going to find any DVD collections of Kid Video.
Right.
Kids Incorporated, and lots of episodes of the Muppet Babies, the original cartoon show. It's a licensing nightmare, Muppet Babies.
That's interesting. I never thought of Muppet Babies. I used to love that show.
I love Muppet Babies.
And I realized I haven't been able to find that in forever. So
I want the Star Wars episode of Muppet Babies. The anime when they redid Star Wars with Muppet Babies, that was amazing. They did Indiana Jones. They did Star Wars. I live from a, but it is when you see it from a licensing standpoint nowadays, because of how strict everything is, nightmare. Can't do anything with it. And just like Kid Video, it has so many different music videos fused into it. You can't do that because it's a licensing nightmare. That Kids Incorporated TV series where they covered all the new hit songs, even though it's them singing it, can't do it because, again, licensing nightmare. Because everybody's like, you'd have to pay too many people just for one.
Yeah.
Hey, Jackie's in the house. She's just waving. So, Jackie, we'll wave back at you. Good to see you.
Wave after wave, so electric. Okay.
Well, we're about hour 30, guys. So I think you guys get wrapping
sounds
it up.
Good. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Oh, thank you for being here.
It's our pleasure.
So I'll just do the outro here, and then everyone can kind of determine what you want to plug and where you want to point people. So I want to thank you for watching or hopefully listening to this episode. Well, maybe we'll do this in this audio show. I don't know. But we want to thank you for hopefully watching or listening to this episode of the Retro Rogues Live. Again, my name is Dave Beatty. I have been one of your hosts. If you're curious to learn more about me, see what occupies a lot of my time, it's ironic because it's actually not Kirby Tees at the moment, but we still want to encourage you to go over and check out KirbyTees.com. It's KIRBYTS.com. A lot of fun things over there. We want to encourage you to take a look at actually the Retro Rogues Live t-shirts. Please consider purchasing a Retro Rogues set. Can you tell it's been a while since I've done this?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. We want to encourage you to consider purchasing a Retro Rogues Live t-shirt and supporting the show. We would greatly appreciate your support. Enough about that. I want to thank, as always, my great co-host. This is Mr. Eric Alexander. Eric, please tell the folks, if you're watching or listening at home, where they can learn more about you on the interwebs.
Well, I am still most active on Twitter, so you can find me there at BassGod14, at BASSGOD14. My DMs are wide open, so I'm always willing to take show suggestions if you want to reach out to me. BassGod14 is also the official YouTube. That's also the official Twitch. So if you make comments on those platforms, more likely than not, I will be the one responding to you, and I do enjoy hearing your comments. Jane says, really fun show. We're glad to be back. It's been a while, so thank you for tuning in. Gap also says, glad you guys are back. Gap, we appreciate you coming around as well, and also for the inquiries, behind the scenes where you were inquiring what happened to us. So we appreciate that. And Hollywood says, great show. Bye, everyone. Hollywood also was mentioning earlier that he is stuck in the storms right now. So if any of you other folks are, I know that there is a friend of the show who mentioned to me earlier that he might not have power tonight. So you folks be safe out there if you're dealing with the weather. And A'Ja, since you are our guest tonight, I will leave you with the last word. You got anything to plug or anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Yes. If you guys want to tweet to me, I am on Twitter as Fairy Black Mother. That's without the A, so it's just Fairy Black Mother. Also, if you want to watch old episodes of me clowning with my Eric, you can go to cosmiccafeshow.com. There's still a Facebook channel, there's still a YouTube channel, and then, of course, the website. And, of course, thank you guys for having me on. I can't wait to do it again. We love you. Nerd up. It's a code. Okay, I'm done.
and Peggy did come at the last minute, so just give her a shout out. She says bye, guys. So bye, Peggy.
Bye.